Hey, welcome back to another Just 15 Minutes, or Mins. Still have got that problem. Right, what are we going to do? I'm going to get to the right tab to start with. Okay, so, yeah, there's a lot of hysteria, I think is the word I was looking for, with Deepseek. Maybe for a good reason, but obviously there's all the usual mayhem and hype and everything that goes with it. But I don't know, just it's unfolding at the moment, isn't it, as the time of this recording. But yeah, just a quick little rant, but it's sort of a bit like back in when the web really took off. I know it's been around for a long time, so don't correct me. But when everybody was using Yahoo, Alta Vista, or whatever, and things like that, and obviously the browsers were things like Netscape and stuff like that. And then sort of like it was all a bit of a status quo, and then Google came along. I remember it. I remember getting sent this link from someone. I am that old. But it was essentially, try Google. It's so much better to search. Yeah, no, I think I was a, Yahoo fan, all that sort of stuff. And so, but I started using Google like everybody, of course, and away we went. It was like, my goodness, Google is so much better than everything else. And I think that's what we're doing now. It is an AI race, isn't it, really? So it's going to happen like this. I think that's the inevitability. So anyway, all of the hype aside, I got asked recently, in fact, a couple of people asked, so hopefully if they are people who subscribed, and please like and subscribe. I'm desperate. No, I'm not. I'm not that desperate, but I am. Anyway, but things like using Cursor AI, the editor, I did cover that in a previous video, which I'll put a link to somewhere when I figure out how to do that. Anyway, but the point being is I did mention about using Cursor AI with local models. So just to put this into context, okay, and if you don't follow this at the moment, don't worry. I am going to be going through a little bit of a course, and don't worry, I'm not going to try to take all your money. But I've basically got Ollama. Now, there is another one, LM Studio from NVIDIA, which is actually really nice because it's got a really nice graphic user interface. But Ollama, I'm also a fan. So I'm running Ollama in Docker. Yep, it's okay. And I've recently obviously jumped on the bandwagon like everybody. I've gone to, Ollama, where you can download Ollama, by the way. And you don't need Docker. I just want to make that clear. You can run it locally, but I like to have everything isolated, segmented as best you can with Docker. And there we go. So once you get Ollama, and again, I'll go through this in a little mini micro course shortly. And to be honest, there's millions of videos out there. I don't know why I'm trying to compete. But anyway, the point being is you can look for all the models, and there's a lot of them, by the way. But here's Deepseek R1. Now, there's another couple of deviations of this. There's a Deepseek coder, which I'm going to be playing with for coding. But this is the Deepseek R1. Okay, now, I think I've stated this so many times now. I've got a fairly old laptop. When I get a bit more cash, I might upgrade. But it's basically a 20 gig i7 laptop from about 6-7 years ago now. So it's not exactly a modern laptop. But if you want to use something like Deepseek locally, which I am, then you can come to Deepseek R1 in the models. And there's a few variants, basically, all to do with a billion parameters sort of thing. So obviously the higher, like this one down here, 671 billion parameters, but it's 404 gig. I don't have that space. Okay, you can obviously come down a little bit. It starts to get a bit realistic. I've just for the sake of this, I'm just using this 1.5 billion parameter model. Okay, and you'll see there. Look, it's got a command line that you can copy. So in Docker, for instance, all I have to do is I've got my Ollama Docker container running. I can just hit those little three dots there and open a terminal, basically. And if I move my terminal so you can see it. So this is just Linux now, or Linux. And I've got Ollama running there. Okay, so basically, if I do Ollama list, yeah, you can see there's the model there. I've got Llama 3 as well, which I'll have to get rid of. That is a little bit more sizable, but there you go. Okay, and there's a bit of a glitch there, but what you can do then is you can then do, I did Ollama list, you can do Ollama run, and you can basically use, I thought it was the ID for some reason, you use the name Deepseek R1 colon 1.5b, okay, and here I am. So, hello Deepseek, and it's really quite quick, on my rather old dodgy laptop, which I'm surprised. How are you? Why am I talking to an AI like this? Yeah, well, it's okay. I don't have any feelings either. That's okay. But this is actually running now. The fact that this model is running, we're back to what we started. These models can all run in Ollama. They can run in LM Studio, I'm pretty sure. Certainly Llama 3 and all the rest of it. I'm sure Deepseek is in there as well. But back to what I was saying is, can you then run Cursor AI with your local Deepseek model now? And that's a really good question, because it appears to be, when you look at the details down here, how it compares with OpenAI. And I know there's a lot of controversy going on, or controversy, whichever way you like to talk about that. So it is quite interesting. Now, even though I'm using the very small version, it's still pretty cool. But like I say, there is a coder model which I'm going to be looking at as well. But back to Cursor AI. Come on, focus. Right. The idea is, I must admit, I thought you could use Cursor AI with local models. It turns out right now, at the time of this recording anyway, you can't, but it seems to be something that's very hot in the community of Cursor. And the idea is that, I think they are actually going to do that. But what I did find, and it's worth just having a look, is I stumbled across then looking at a Y Combinator article when it decides to show me the page. Okay, didn't like that, did it? Okay, something called Void, basically the open source Cursor alternative. So obviously all of these Cursor AIs and all, Windsurf and all this type of stuff, they're all based on Visual Studio Code. Okay, so that's what they've done with Void by the looks of it. And I went to Void, and I've basically signed up to get access when it's available. I'm on the wait list, I think. But I think it's quite interesting. It's backed by Y Combinator, and essentially this does mean that you can use any model. You can run it locally. You can do all sorts of things. So, Cursor AI, there's so many choices, and some better than others and all that sort of stuff. You just got to pick what works for you, like everything in life, really. And that's what I'm finding. Look, my go-to still is GitHub Copilot, because I'm getting some good success with that. Why not? But yeah, the idea is you can pick a lot of the models in Cursor, but as I say, I where it said add model down there, I thought that meant you could do that yourself, like local ones, but it isn't. Not yet. Like I said, there are ways, and the community's forward and everything. I haven't looked at the features at the moment on the beta. Anyway, I'm sure Cursor will have access to local AI very, very soon. Okay, so yeah, it's worth having a look at. Certainly with things like Ollama, I'm running it in a container, so it's not polluting my laptop. And I think I also got asked for how you actually get to the composer and things like that. So it's not as obvious to a lot of people how to get to that composer screen. But what I tend to do is if you go to view and then command palette, this is all Visual Studio Code stuff, you see. So if you're used to this, it makes sense. If you're not, then it is a little bit difficult to get at. As you can see there, look, you can open Composer as a bar, open it as a full screen. There's a few other little tricks and options that you can do. But there you go. So now you're in basically the Composer or the chat. So the composer is where it can actually start to look at your code and work with you to build stuff. And you can see there, look, there's the model being used. So you can select whichever model that you want. And I can see it's already got Deepseek R1 there. Okay, so that's new. I've just seen that one. So there you go. You can have a play directly with Deepseek R1 within Cursor AI. But anyway, you can pick either all of the models, and the composer is, like I said, where it will carry on continuing. It'll build, the chat is obviously just to ask a question, but the composer is doing that whole flow basically. So that's to get to the composer as well, which is again is just view, command palette, or Control Shift P on Windows anyway, and then you can open the composer. Okay, so if you found it interesting, please like and subscribe, he said desperately. But anyway, I hope that's helped. But like I said, I think the whole Deepseek thing, and being able to run it locally it's quite a fascinating time, isn't it? So anyway, until the next one, take care and have a good day or a good week wherever you are.